G'day, how are you doing?
Yeah, good. Thank you. Yourself?
Good, thank you. So this evening I'd like to share Sarah's progress throughout the term, especially in regard to the excellent progress she's made throughout this term's numeracy unit. So earlier in the year, it was identified Sarah was struggling a bit with maths. This was evident through in-class assessment as well as in her NAPLAN results. However, this wasn't just Sarah, much of the class struggled in a similar way. So to address this, I developed a unit of work specifically targeted at developing the student's mathematical competency. And I'd be happy to say that after completing the term's mathematical unit, Sarah's achieving the standards set out by the Australian curriculum. Just for your information, the standards for a Year 3 numeracy is that students can recognise the connection between addition and subtraction and solve problems using effective strategies with multiplication, all of which Sarah can do now. Sarah can also model and represent unit fractions, use metric units for length, mass and capacity, tell the time to the nearest minute, and conduct simple data investigations for categorical variables.
That's awesome. How do you know exactly how Sarah is meeting those standards?
So this is done through various means of assessment. For this unit, the assessment comprised of a quizzes, like a test, and professional observations and review of classwork. The tests allow me to get a snapshot of how well students can apply their knowledge learned in class, while the observations and classwork reviews allow me to analyse students' understanding and abilities in a more relaxed environment. Some students have a tendency to freeze or not perform their best during tests. That's why I don't simply give a grade based on the test. However, Sarah did well in her tests. She struggled a bit in the first test. However, this was likely due to not being used to the environment, because afterwards she did great in all the ones following. Here's an example of one she did a few weeks ago. There you are. So this one was on number, which incorporates topics such as addition, subtraction, multiplication. As you can see, she got question 4 wrong. However, I still gave her a tick and a good mark for it because she showed good working out and correctly used the strategy taught in class and obviously understands the concept. She just made a mistake with the number she used at the beginning. As for the class observations, here's an example of how I mark that. This is a page from Sarah's book, actually. Here the class had been working on statistics and probability. The class had a little investigation to complete. They had to gather data about eye colour in the class, then represent the data and then interpret it, answering some questions related to probability. This is the rubric I used to mark Sarah's classwork. I use the rubric to ensure I see everything I need to while also ensuring fairness by stopping me from being more lenient to one student than another. As you can see, she did very well. I was very impressed by her data representation, that how well she made the graphs and charts. It was a pretty cool graph. She was good at collecting and organising the data and relatively good at data interpretation. However, she made a few errors in regard to understanding probability. For example, she might see a spinner with 10 spaces. 9 of them have a square, 1 of them has a triangle. If asked what's the likelihood of spinning a square, she might say certain. The event is definitely more likely to happen, but not certain. They're the types of mistakes she made. As you can see here, I think there was one kid in the class with green eyes and they were asked what's the likelihood of picking him randomly, and she said impossible. So that's the sort of mistake she was making there.
Perfect, and it should be
unlikely.
Unlikely, okay.
Overall, I gave her a B grade after taking her test into account on statistics and probability. This is a significant improvement from where she was, so you should be happy. I think Sarah is a great student. She works extremely well during whole class activities and individually. I would say she has a tendency to get a bit distracted and off task during small group activities. For example, when we're doing maths rotations, but once again, it's really not something to be concerned about. Is there anything you'd like to share, Miss Lisboa?
No, that would be it. Thank you so much for meeting today.
No problem. Anytime.
Thank you.